Software updates typically patch a few bugs or optimize battery life, but the brand new iOS developer beta introduces deliberate fissures into the carefully engineered philosophy of the iPhone. From its inception, Apple engineered a heavily fortified walled garden. The promise to the user was clear: buy into this closed ecosystem and in return experience a pristine, exclusive environment completely isolated from the chaos of the broader internet. This specific developer beta dismantles two of those foundational pillars at once. It strips away Apple's strict cross-platform isolation, and it compromises the sanctity of its native, ad-free utility apps. We are watching a calculated exchange. Apple is finally giving its users the ability to communicate seamlessly with rival devices, while simultaneously taking their attention to feed a new internal monetization engine. To understand where iOS is heading, we have to look past the beta code. We need to examine this quiet negotiation between forced interoperability and the aggressive expansion of digital advertising. The first major shift in this beta is the give. RCS replaces aging SMS technology with a modern pipeline for high-fidelity media and read receipts between different operating systems. Crucially, this beta applies end-to-end encryption, scrambling data into unreadable code on the sender's device, bringing true security parity outside the Apple ecosystem. Apple treated the friction of Android messaging as a strategic asset for years, leveraging iMessage exclusivity to keep social circles locked into its hardware. The sudden surrender stems from the European Union. Regulators there have been aggressively drafting legislation to force major technology gatekeepers to open their platforms to fair competition. Competitors recognized this vulnerability. Google spent years running highly visible public relations campaigns, weaponizing user frustration to pressure Apple into adopting the universal RCS standard. This adoption of RCS is a calculated concession. Apple's legal and executive teams recognize that maintaining a pure software monopoly in messaging is no longer defensible against global regulatory bodies. As the external walls of the ecosystem lower, Apple is seeking to offset those regulatory losses by extracting new revenue from the users already inside. This is the take. The second major feature buried in this beta is the injection of native digital advertising directly into Apple Maps. Historically, Maps functioned as an objective navigation utility. It simply showed you the best route from point A to point B. Now it operates as a monetized local search engine. When users search for a destination, organic search results are now intercepted by sponsored pins and promoted local businesses. The visual hierarchy of the map is dictated by who paid for placement rather than strict geographic relevance. Apple built its modern brand identity by criticizing competitors for treating users as the product. They spent billions marketing privacy and ad-free software as core features of their premium hardware. This chart shows exactly why that marketing stance is shifting. The solid line tracks global iPhone hardware sales, which have largely stagnated in a saturated market. To satisfy investors, the intersecting dotted line shows Apple's aggressive target for services and ad revenue. They have to squeeze more dollars out of every existing user. Apple Maps now serves as a targeted advertising vector, embedding the economics of digital billboards into the previously pristine iOS environment. RCS messaging and Maps advertisements appear to be entirely separate software updates. In reality, they are two halves of the same strategic pivot. The iPhone of tomorrow functions differently than the iPhone of yesterday. It is legally obligated to be open to the outside world, and financially obligated to be commercially aggressive on the inside. Apple can no longer rely purely on outselling competitors with superior hardware. The company is actively restructuring itself into a high-margin digital advertising broker. The financial appetite required to maintain the world's most valuable technology company requires continuous, massive growth. When you cannot sell more phones, you sell the attention of the people holding them. Apple is remodeling its legendary walled garden into a highly monetized shopping mall.